got some good vibes from that, I'm
The which one?
sure. The single Basshead Flex.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. So yeah, it feels good, man. Just getting that out. You know what I mean? It's something I've been working on for a little bit off and on, but like yeah, it feels just good, just like getting that out to the world, you know, just seeing the
Yeah.
reaction, just like yeah, finishing product, you know, as an artist, it's like a lot of the time people don't know, like, you know, they hear a song and it's fun and feels good, but people don't understand like what goes into that and just like what goes into a finished product, you know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just a lot, man. It's like in terms of like making it, mixing, mastering, just promoting it, all that, you know. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels good just getting it out, you know.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount of work, really, when you break it down. Like you got to do everything. I mean, obviously you got
Fully.
people helping you, but you got to like plug yourself
Yeah.
all the time. It's relentless for sure.
Exactly, man. Especially in like, you know, this day and age, like there aren't too many labels, you know, it's not really as big of a thing. It's more independent artists.
Yep.
So independent artists are just doing their own everything. Branding, music, mixing, mastering. You know, these are things that, you know, everybody like there are full jobs for this. People were allocated jobs for this, like careers for each one of these things. Now we're
Yeah,
just like doing it all. But at the same time we get more like creative control, you know,
for
so
sure. Yeah,
give and take, whatever. It is what it is.
absolutely. Cool. So, real quick, I guess I'll let you know. So I'm gonna do an article on the single itself, but a lot of that's gonna be me, you know, trying to feel you out a little bit and give some context
Yeah.
as to who you are as an artist. Um,
Yeah.
so
Appreciate you, man. That's awesome. Thank you for reaching out and yeah, clicking with me on this.
yeah, no problem, man. I love helping people out, like, you know, getting the word out there on this kind of stuff. I know it's
Yeah,
hard, so
fully.
happy to help.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you, man.
so I guess we'll start with you know, we'll go back to the beginning. Like, what kind of music growing up were you listening to, and like what inspirations, you know, carried with you through your growth as a musician?
Um, Good question. Like honestly, my music is kind of a conglomerate and just a mix of a bunch of different influences and styles, I would say. Like I grew up in New York City and I'm a professional musician. I grew up as a professional musician. I'm a bass player, and I studied like you know the I'm classically trained, and you know I studied the actual science of music. You know, so just coming up with that, you know, I've had to study and I've checked out a bunch of different styles and influences, and just like the ins and outs of music in general. So, um, especially being in New York City, you know, there's so much out here, and I've been exposed to a lot, you know, a lot of different types of music, different
Hmm.
cultures, but I would say throughout that, my main three influences that really, where personally I come from, is like hip hop, reggae, and jazz. Those are my kind of three like main sources. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean there are a bunch of other elements too that I bring in too, but right now that's kind of like yeah where I'm pulling from
that's awesome. Those three lend themselves to each other too really well, I think. Um,
fully.
I mean, music, any genre of music's obviously going to fit in with any other genre of music in some capacity, but I feel like those three have such a strong current together where
Yeah,
they can flow
fully.
in and out of each other. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love to hear that kind of blend,
yeah,
definitely.
exactly. So
Um, that
it's
said,
good.
I gotta ask. So in the press release there, it mentioned that you have your own genre that you call it freak wave or uh, was it body rock or metro tech? Man, can you dive into those a little bit for me?
Yeah, man, those are just like, and those have been different like eras, kind of my musical development. Like body rock is just that. It's just that flow of just like that hard bop. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just you just rocking your whole body. You know what I mean? Just like that head knock, like that. Yeah, just that tough, like that. That feel, just rocking your whole body rock. You know what I mean? So I call that body rock. That was like first. That was like my initial kind of when building my original sound and style. That was kind of like the first feel that I came with, you know, and that kind of correlates with my earlier music, like a certain sound that I was dealing with, and like even at a certain tempo and certain like flavor, you know what I mean? And then kind of Metro Tech. That's something that I started messing with. It's kind of like a kind of messes with my soundscape, like kind of Metro Tech. It reminds me just the word Metro Tech. Well, first of all, Metro. I come from New York City, and I'm from New York. So just like the sounds of New York and just those soundscapes, and just like from my influences of New York sonically, you know, just the name Metro, and then Tech. The word tech is just kind of like, it reminds me of very kind of just maybe kind of electronic, like, you know, technical electronic sounding, because a lot of my sounds, some of my sounds like are very, I do a lot of sound design, so a lot of times they're some of the sounds are very kind of how would I describe them, electronica, but just kind of almost what's the phrase, dystopian future.
Okay, yeah.
Dystopian futuristic type of sounds, you know what I mean? So just that like Blade Runner type of like like a lot of like, I incorporate I like a lot of vintage like video game type sounds too, just like vintage raw, just industrial sounds, you know what I mean? So just kind of Metro Tech, that kind of corresponds to that type of soundscape, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Freakwave, like, that's something new. That's kind of a new flavor, like just like, yeah, Freakwave. It's just like, I'm weird, bro. I come from like, sometimes like the shit I deal with and what I do, I'm just different, man. I'm a weird cat. So like some of the shit, and then my sounds, like I like to go off, you know what I mean? I like just like to turn up that whole party aspect, like it's like party with some weird ass crazy like heavy bass heavy sounds, weird sounds, you know what I mean? So just the Freakwave is just that energy of just like freak out, you know, like, you know, let's just go off, like,
that's awesome.
Freakwave, yeah, it's that Freakwave, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like
needs no explanation, man. It's just, it is what it is.
That's it. It is what it is, bro. Freakwave, bro. I'm on that Freakwave shit, and that's something I needed to start pushing more. Just that, I just came up with that recently. I need to start pushing that shit more.
Yeah, man. Get some hashtag going on that.
Yeah, basically, yeah, bro. Freakwave, bro. That's what I'm about. That's where I'm at now. Like, fuck it, just go off, like, on some freak shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Freakwave. So, like, yeah, man. Those are kind of those the concepts behind the sound, you know? For
sure. Yeah, I like it. I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone who has like their own genres. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's different. And then what you heard, like, honestly, Basshead Flex, that's like one very specific side. I have a lot of different sides to me. Like I told you I'm a bass player. So I have a bunch of music, other projects and other sides of me that's like different kind of from at least this particular single, Basshead Flex, you know. I have a lot of different things I do. Like I'm a bass player, but I have this kind of new sound. Everything I do, I'm different. Like I told you, I'm weird, I'm different. So everything I do, whether it be the way I talk, the way I dress, my whole life is just, I have my own thing to it, you know. So naturally my sound is just, and my sound is going to be different. So I have like I do a bunch of other things right now, actually, which
I saw that. I peeped your website there. I was like, what is this guy? He does everything.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Sean Play Nice, yeah. Basically, so, fuck. I'm out here. Yeah, man, so I can't lie, bro. I'm out here. I just got the 20% thing on my phone.
Okay, yeah.
Shit, I'm sorry, man.
Oh, you're all good, man. If we need to cut it too, just let me know. I mean, if you gotta save some
I'll
battery.
just rock till the shit dies, though. So yeah, we could keep it moving.
Right,
or I can call you I could call you when I get home to finish it or whatever. But yeah, let's just keep on going.
All right, cool. I wanted to touch. So in the press release there, it says, I'm gonna quote you. You said, "I make songs with color," which, you know, is like as a jazzer, that means one thing to different people. Like, you know, for me, when I hear color, I think of like 9, 11, 13 chords. That's where you're getting your color, but color is like that could mean so many different things. So I wanted to gauge you on that. What do you mean by that? Like, what is color in music to you?
Just like, you know, just a sound has certain or when I come out with a song, maybe I get certain visuals with it too, or they have, you know, the sound has a certain feeling or a certain flavor to it. You know,
Sure.
life is multidimensional. You know what I mean? It's not just all these sound, like all the five senses. You know, they're just different perspectives of one truth. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the sound can have a feel, it can have a taste to it, it can have a look to it. You know, so these different sounds that I come up with kind of remind me of different images and different colors and different feels too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just but also even the soundscapes I play with, like even between the melodies, you know, I choose, and a lot of my work deals with sound design. Like, you know, I spend, like, when I produce, like everything, all the music I make, like I produce the music, you know, the tracks,
Right.
everything I do it myself, you know. So the sounds I make, a lot of the time I spend making the sounds is actually like fine tuning and sound design, like fine tuning the actual sounds, like, you know, like a mad scientist in the lab. Like I'm just mixing, blending different sounds and tuning them and mixing them and just tweaking them and making them sound crazy. You know what I mean? So like I spend a lot of time just messing with the sound, the actual flavor of the sounds and the constitution of the sounds, you know. So I think there's color in that. You know, a lot of my sounds have different type of feels and flavors. They're not bland, you know. I like messing with different, like a palette, you know, a painter, he has a palette, you know what I mean? So I do that same way with sounds. See me?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can definitely hear, like, I can hear that in Basshead Flex, like, you know, it's a lot of just like pulling from different areas, I think, sort of in that soundscape.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of it. For me, it's like a nostalgic piece, and I know it's like the haunted, like the Rugrats theme, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know,
that
was
childhood.
For me, I went back. I had like flashbacks to that orange cassette tape. I was like, oh my god.
I feel, yeah, exactly. You hear me shout out Rugrats and like the interlude. I'm like Tommy, Chucky, Lily, Stewie.
Yeah, man. So I can definitely hear that color in there. If you had to put it to one of your genres, like, would you call that? Is that body rock, or is that Metro Tech? Is that freak wave, or is it a little bit?
Nah, that's probably more body rock. This sound is definitely more tame than most of my other shit. This is like, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know if it does represent a side of me, this track, but a smaller side of me. I love trap because it's very kind of trap influence. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the beat, at least. So that's definitely a big part of me. I mean, yeah, it's a side of me, but there's more body rock, there's more groove and more tame, I would say. Some of my other shit is just more dirty and just wild, you know. So yeah, I'll say it's more body rock.
Are we gonna be seeing that in some? I know you got some other singles you're looking to put out this year. Are we gonna be seeing that side come out, some more freak wave?
Oh yeah, definitely. And honestly, it's good to get this out because I'm kind of just like, this one is not me right now. It's kind of just like old. I've been just kind of wanted to get it out because it's like not representing like my sound right now. So, but it's good. It still needs to get out there because I think it's a good tune and, like, you know, it's got a bop to it. But yeah, I really want to start messing with that freak wave sound more now. You know?
Yeah.
That freak wave, but
it's good to get it out there, man. We're all different people at different times, right? So I mean,
exactly,
documenting your history, like your development, where you're going in life.
Fully.
Yeah, so I guess one thing I'm curious with is, like you said, like this song, Basshead Flex, is something you're trying to put out. Maybe doesn't quite represent where you're at right now musically, but you know, it's a staple in your repertoire here. Where do you see yourself going musically in the future, and like where are you trying to get at? I guess.
Yo, honestly, man, I have a very kind of, a big part of me is jazz, right?
Yeah.
And I have a very free improvisatory side to me. Like, ultimately, I just want to get crazy and very free on some free jazz shit with, like, free with sounds. Because, all right, I'm speaking of from an instrumentalist standpoint. Like, I have a project right now called X-Play, and it's kind of me playing. My setup is like bass. I play bass, but I trigger samples with my bass. So basically, it's like an MPC, like samples, like, you know, same way of how hip hop producers, they'd cut up samples and put them on the pads and then play them with a beat. I do that, but with my bass.
Right.
And then I have a drummer, so it's kind of a combination of those two sounds. But going with my sound, really, I'll just say more of the freak wave direction. You know what I mean? Some more like, definitely some of the same elements and soundscapes, but just taking it wilder and being more free with it.
No boundaries.
Just like, yeah, no boundaries, you know, just turning up with it. Cause, you know, Basshead Flex is pretty reserved. You know, it's a simple beat. It hits hard, but like, it's a simple beat, but I just want to take it. I just want to go off like, fully. I come from, my first style was actually metal, playing bass. Like, my first style was metal. So like, that's one aspect I have to myself, just like rock out, fuck it, balls to the wall, just like fully go in, just bash, sure, yeah. So punk, on some punk wave metal screamo shit. So there's that element too. So that's kind of like my spirit too. So definitely more of, you know, you'll start seeing in my next releases, it's going to be kind of more maybe edgy. Some of them, the thing is, man, I have a lot of different sides to me, and I just like making music, you know. So sometimes I'll feel this way. I want to come out with this type of tune, and but yeah, man. So I don't know.
Based on what you're telling me, like you kind of remind me a little bit of like a direction that like Sun. I don't know if you're familiar with Sun Ra.
Sun Ra, yeah, definitely.
Like, that stands out to me. It's like almost like you know, the fundamentals of music, where like jazz was so prevalent in that, funk and everything, but it was just like there was no rules or boundaries to it, and it was just like free creative music. And
I was just hanging with a drummer boy. I just came from that, and we were just talking about making free jazz, like playing free jazz. Yeah, dude. So like, I might just be coming from that. Going. Yeah, literally, he played with Ornette Coleman. Like, he's a drummer. Like, he played with Ornette Coleman. We were talking about that. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, and I come from the jazz world. Like, you know, I was just telling him I was sitting with Robert Glasper and shit like that, like, as a bass player. So, like, yeah, that's kind of like where I come from. So, yeah, there's that side of me too, but just wanting to just go free with it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's tough out there for jazz. Maybe not down there. I don't know what the scene's like down in New York. Up here, jazz is rough. But where
are you at again?
I'm way up here in Vermont.
Vermont, oh true. Yeah, I passed through there a few times with the tours and shit. Like, I play reggae. I play a lot of reggae too, actually. So I'd come through Vermont with that.
Yeah, we love reggae up here. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I know you guys do. Yeah, reggae's fire.
That's
it's funny. A lot of
No, go ahead.
No, my earlier stuff with 86 Supreme, I was doing reggae vocals with that. So it's kind of a mix of like like the tracks I have out now with like the hip hop, even punk influence mixed with reggae. So the 86 Supreme shit was like hip hop, reggae, and like punk more. That was that type of. Yeah, I have links to that on my Sean Play Nice, the website.
To check that stuff out. All right, I'll try to squeeze one more question in here before I might lose you at some point, I'm assuming, with the battery. But so you do a lot, right? So you're a musician, you're a composer, you're a designer as well. I know you do video design, fashion design as well. Those are all creative outlets for you. Do you see that your styles are synonymous with each other at any given time? Like, sort of like you went through the genres and your musical genres. Do you see yourself going through that in all of your creative outlets, or are they sort of independent from each other?
Yeah, I would say so, man, because at the end of the day, all these are different perspectives of one thing. Like, the style, it's different expressions of one thing, you know. It's different, the sound and the visuals and the music is different expressions of me.
Right.
So if I'm going through changes, you know, if I'm in a different place, these things are going to reflect that and express that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I would say that they've changed with me too, because they're coming from me, you know? So, yeah, man, I would say so. Like, right now I'm kind of on that freak wave shit. So like, I want kind of the clothes to be more edgy. I've been trying to move more towards edgy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to more like hip hop based or whatever, like kind of more punk, like edgy based or whatever. Cool. So, yeah, I would say, yeah, they all move together, you know, because they're ultimately coming from me. Yeah. So
same guy, same different art, same guy.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
fully. Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think it's
Yeah,
they. I mean, they all like art is, you know, it's not one thing, right? It's all tied together in a multitude of things. So it definitely makes sense to me. I can see how that would, if you're in a mood one day, everything you do, everything you touch that day is going to be in that same mood.
yeah, yeah. It's different expressions of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like saying the same word in different languages, kind of.
Right.
You know.
Um,
So
cool. I guess uh, if you had to put out like a message to your audience, like what's one thing you want them to listen to your music, any given song, doesn't matter. You don't get to tell them which one to listen to. What's one thing you want them, that they're gonna walk away with, and that you want them to keep? What's the piece of Sean you're gonna give them?
yeah, their neck is about to hurt. I'm about to make their head bop. I'm about to make them move. Yeah, they're about to wake up sore the next day. Yeah, they're about to wake up with a sore neck. Um,
Trying to get people vibing. That's what it is.
yeah, well, what they're gonna walk away with, just really just something different and a relief, kind of just like a satisfying relief of like from the mundane, a break from the mundane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure. Just like I'm different, my shit is different. So, but it's good, it's powerful, it's tasteful music at the same time. So it's a nice treat, but it's different. It's a different type of treat. So it's like, yeah, it's a kind of a unique treat. They're gonna be a new experience for sure.
The play nice experience.
Yeah, play nice.
Basshead experience.
Yeah, Basshead Flex. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be different. I play nice, but it's gonna be nice. I'm gonna, I play nice, so they're gonna feel good about it.
It's awesome.
It's funny. It's kind of dichotomy. I play nice, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes my shit is mean. Like what I play, my music is just mean. It's like leave you with the screw face. That's one thing. They'll definitely come out with the screw face, like they just smelled the fart or some shit. Yeah,
stank face.
Yeah, they'll definitely come out with the stank face. That's one thing. Even in Basshead Flex, like in the beginning verse, like, "Oh, what a shame, boo boo on your hands." Like they might come out with some soiled pants. Honestly, yeah, they might come out with some soiled pants. Shit is dirty. I hit a lot of brown notes with the bass and shit. I'm a bass head, you know what I mean? Come out with brown notes.
Can't be skipping out on those for sure.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, come with new pants or fresh underwear. Yeah, have fresh underwear at hand.
This would be the tagline. It'd be Basshead Flex. Come with new pants.
Fresh underwear. Yeah, bring fresh underwear.
Underwear sold separately.
Yeah, exactly. Or complimentary. This recording comes complimentary with underwear. Yeah. New Hanes.
Cool, man. All right, I'm gonna give you a chance to plug yourself. Where can we catch it?
You said, "Yo, go plug yourself." I'm gonna give you a chance to go plug.
I'm doing the Sean
plug
Evans.
Yourself. Yeah.
This camera, the only camera.
All the cameras.
I was curious about this actually. Did you come up so Basshead Flex? You come up with that beat and then you were like, "Shit, that kind of sounds like the Rugrats theme," or was it vice versa? Was it inspired or did that come after?
No, it came after. I'm like, yeah, there's some Rugrats shit. Yeah, it sounded like the Rugrats theme. It reminded me of that. Just very ding, 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 ding. Just happy and childish kind of. Which is kind of me. It's kind of, I like that type of shit. It's kind of, that childlike spirit is like kind of a big part of my life. I like keeping kind of a childlike spirit, so.
Do you start typically with like the beat, bass line, stuff like that? Or do you have like an idea in your head first? Or is there no method or rhyme or reason to where this kind of stuff starts?
Yeah, honestly, it's different. Sometimes I approach it with like, sometimes it's the beat first, sometimes it's vocal pattern first, sometimes it's a concept first. It depends, really.
Yeah.
It really depends on it could be wherever, really. I don't really have too much of a written out formula for that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have an old beat or some old lyrics. I just throw some old lyrics on a new beat, flip it, the cut and paste type shit. And so yeah, it depends really how I feel or what.
Yeah, I think that's good. I don't know, personally, I don't write a whole lot, but every time I tried writing, I find that if I put myself in a method, if I say I'm going to start with one thing and I set out with that goal, I put myself in a box, and it just
kind
kind
of
of
binds
limits
you,
you.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, exactly. I'm more of a free. I like being more free and just being inspired by whatever.
You got to let the creative
So,
juices flow.
yeah. Being a creative is not so cut and dry. It's not so structured. You know, creativity is kind of more of a free flowing thing. You know, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Man,
So
do you so I know you've been in you grew up in New York, right? You said that.
yeah, from Uptown Manhattan.
You're a big New York guy, so like I know you talked about uh
Yeah,
Metro Tech being a big part of your sound.
yeah.
What I guess if you had to put yourself in a genre that wasn't one of these ones, would you say that that's something that's in New York? Like, are you doing something in that's kind of foreign to the New York culture, or do you hear what you're doing happening around you, or is it just a culmination of all the different
Yeah,
influences?
yeah. I mean, I'm just all New York. I'm just a culmination of different influences, which all exist in New York. You know,
Right.
New York's hip hop. New York's is a big reggae scene. There's jazz scene, of course, different scenes and shit. So it's all New York. But
Yeah. Big
I'm
mixing
just a
pot.
blend. Yeah, I'm just a big mix of them. So yeah, but honestly, like I've been feeling like taking my sound elsewhere. Like yeah, like Europe. Actually, I went out to Europe. I went out to London. Me and my boy I was in a band with. We just got one-way tickets to London. One time we're just like, fuck it, let's check the music scene out in London. And we were doing our thing, and kind of like I have a very kind of like a London sound almost. They have a lot of like jungle, you know, jungle and drum and bass and shit. That's kind of like a lot of my stuff gravitates towards that too. You'll hear that more in my live sound.
Yep.
You know, like the live shit that I do. But yeah, so that's kind of a big element. So yeah, I've been wanting to kind of bring it out to different places. It's not really it's New York, but it's kind of worldwide, man. It's just like influence. It's just
Yeah.
music, man. It's different. It can't be. It's really hard to. That's been a big struggle, actually. Like, you know, for like branding and just like marketing my shit, just like putting it in a box. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to put my music in a box because it's kind of different. I mean, honestly, Basshead Flex is more. That's more of the boxiest shit that I've made. Probably it's more kind of in a lane, I would say. It's on that trappy, like, you know, like a little Uzi Vert type shit.
Yeah.
You know, sing song, like emo almost type of vibe. But yeah, like my other stuff is more distinct.
It's
More,
it's
yeah.
hard to break past those labels and like I don't know, see recognition for that, because I feel
Yeah.
like just the way things are designed now, just with everything, is like you label it and that's how you know what
Yeah.
it is, by just slapping like a generic label
Yeah.
on it, and that's, you know, this
Yeah.
there's
It's money.
Yeah,
It's business.
that's what
you
it
know?
is.
It's just business, man. Which is always a struggle. I feel like business and, you know, music and art is more of the soul, you know. So I feel like it's money and business and soul. It's kind of like oil and water. You know what I mean? So there's always been kind of like a struggle between that. You know, the business side of it always wants to confine it, put it in a box, put a label on it, sell it, ship it, sell it. You know what I mean? But the art is just more free. It's like, oh, I want to do this.
Yeah.
You know, kind of.
I think
So it's interesting.
historically, right? Like I feel like that's not, you know, that's always been there.
Yeah, fully, bro.
You just go back how until the invention of music, and somebody was trying to, you know, market it to someone for them, and you know, just there's always going to be money where talent is involved, and it's too bad that it kind of throttles it a little bit.
And the more original, for the most part, the more original your sound is, the harder or the less money is going to be around it. If you're like outside of the box, like, you know, I'm more of an original music, but if you're playing like, if you're fitting into a box sounding like a certain type of, definitely sounding like a pre-existing thing, or like fitting into a box trying to sound like someone else, you're probably going to make more money, because, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's business. And like, you know, people want to hear a lot of people going out, they want to hear like familiar shit, and, you know, be drunk, it's like, oh, I know that song, that's my song type shit, you know. So like they want to hear something familiar. So at the end of the day, that's what the business is looking for, just selling, packaging your shit. So, but the more original and the more heartfelt a lot of the time, or just more original or different, the less money it's going to make.
Right.
That's why I make the analogy of oil and water. You know what I mean? Like real art, like genuine art, a lot of the time it's hard to be packaged. Or if it is, it's going to be come with a lot of like tension. You know what I mean? That's why you see a lot of artists like fucked up in the game. You know what I mean? Just because it's not, you know, that whole lifestyle is very binding and you know, well, that's a whole nother conversation, man. Just like when you get to that tier of music, you know, when you're just like on some celebrity status or you're well known, it just comes with a whole nother bag of shit. You know what I mean? Which is, it gets crazy, dude.
Oh, was it Frank Zappa did that sort of where like for years he was just pushing out music that, you know, he still had his own taste, but like what he really wanted to do was write, you know, classical music. So he was selling a bunch of his music like to quote mainstream stuff to fundraise his own projects for the stuff he wanted to do, you know.
Legit.
That's the industry forced him into that.
Is exactly, and that's a pattern that most original, like people who have their own original sounds, like that's kind of the pattern you have to take most of the time. Like think about people who have their own sounds, like all right, like big people for me is like James Brown, you know, a real game changer. He changed the sound. Fucking Jimi Hendrix, all of them, and like John Coltrane, you know, they started out like James Brown. He started out straight R&B. You know what I mean? Straight R&B. He made a name for himself in that. And like once you get to a certain level in your career and you have a certain influence and certain power, like you're being a certain success, then you can branch out and experiment and do your own thing because the audience is already with you. That you already got their respect in their ear. So now you can afford to just go out and do your thing. And that's, you know, so that's pretty much the pattern.
Yeah, definitely.
I haven't really grasped that too much. It's been hard for me to really confine. Really, I can write and make music in any style, but it's just like I don't know. It hurts sometimes. Like it's not worth it for me sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's
kind of selling out in a way. It could be, but it depends on the individual, really. But whatever.
Yeah, I think it's all about doing what, you know, what you're comfortable with doing. You know. You know, I think, and I kind of get that sense from you. I mean, I had a lot of admiration for like publishing your stuff independently. Like that's work. I know that's work.
Totally. All the work, man. It's
all
fully
day.
work.
It never ends. 24/7 job.
Yeah, it's a different model of work. You know, from people have their 9-to-5 shit, and that's a certain structure and format. But the artist format is just like it's really different, and it's kind of wild. It's all over the place sometimes, but yeah, it's work nonetheless though.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.